now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence and observance for all military past and present. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we do a roll call vote, please?
Here.
John.
Here.
Ralph.
Here.
Julie. Here. Chris. Here. Rachel.
Here. Is there any staff present? Approval of minutes from January 5th, 2021. Regular board of trustee minutes.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Chris.
Roll call vote, please.
Julie. Yes. Ralph.
Yes.
Eric.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Yes. Rachel.
Yes. Is there any additions to the agenda? Yes, I'd like to bring back the forensic audit, please.
Support.
We will put that under new business as we have to discuss it. Is there any other additions to the agenda?
Yes, that's one addition. I received a form from Burnham and Flower about the information that we should have on file pertaining to volunteers. And what we have going on right now doesn't cover the expense in our insurance policy. So he has suggested that we fill out this affidavit at the board meeting so that everybody knows how it's going to be presented and send it to them.
We will make that that.
I'll move to make the changes to the agenda.
I'll support. We'll do a roll call vote, please. In addition to the agenda.
Ralph.
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Julie. Yes. Jen.
Yes.
Eric.
Yes.
Yes. Rachel.
Yes. 7-0. Public comments for agenda items only, please.
I'm Mike Patterson. I live on North Highway, in the middle of Green Triangle. One problem was I'm glad to move the old business before the new business, which is the correct way to do it. I see the agenda done that way this time. Second one's on social media. You discussed just the Facebook social media. You're talking about videotaping and stuff.
We put a policy in there, so hopefully
Policy,
we'll
okay.
discuss.
Tonight I'm going to try videotaping to the meeting, see how it turns out sound-wise, but it would help if you would all speak into your microphone. John does the best. If you guys can speak in the microphone when you're talking, it helps a lot, because we really can't hear you out here. And maybe I'll hear each other up there, speak to the microphone, it comes through the speakers a lot better.
Thank you. Is there any other public comments, addition, agenda items?
The minutes that we submitted for approval are in error. I'm not sure who writes them up, but they're good managed secretaries. I did not attack Mr. Gildner in any way, shape, or form. In fact, I defended Mr. Gildner. Now, the minutes are totally wrong. I would like that stricken from the record. It is an error. At that point in time, there was a question about Mr. Gildner's veracity and ability, and I was defending Mr. Gildner. I will not allow erroneous information in the minutes on my behalf. It can be stricken from the record voluntarily or by the court, either one. Okay?
Absolutely. I'm kind of curious. To me, it does look like you are sticking up for the attorney.
So, I got a question. I know I'm not supposed to add to it, but I will. So,
Speak up if you would, Mr.
yeah, but anyways, I'm going to. So, you're saying that my attack on Mr. Gildner, you were defending his actions, but you still, we're going to leave the threat that you made to me in there.
I never made a
You're not
threat.
denying it. Well, this is what it says. You want
I never made a threat to you.
Well, what is it that what do you call it?
I didn't make a threat to you.
You're saying, that's what you're saying.
But I told
We're
you
not-
that if you were
not
that
gonna that.
nasty again,
Yeah, okay.
and you were that obnoxious and
The
unprofessional,
conversation is
that would be
over.
I
it.
think
The
you guys, we're going to move
conversation is
forward with the meeting, and then you guys can discuss this afterwards.
That's
I don't have a
all.
problem.
Either act like an adult and professional
You
or
guys-
be quiet.
We're good. Order. Let's move forward. Is there any presentations? No correspondence? Supervisor's report, I do want to plan a budget workshop for February 23rd at 5:30. That's kind of up in the air right now, but something I'm going to bring back to the board very shortly. We had a road commission meeting this morning that looked pretty good. We had about $25,000, I believe, rollover from last year. Looks like we got around $188,000 in our allocated funds this year. What we don't use, we will lose at the end of this year, so that'll also be brought back to the board and introduced into the budget as well. Is there a treasurer's report?
Yeah, I actually got the, for the general account, as of January 11th, we have $923,515.42 in there, but the money hasn't been distributed out to the correct GL lines yet, so hopefully by the next board meeting, we'll have it more straight.
Sounds good. Anything else? Sorry.
And we're also still working on taxes. Other than that, I think that's about it.
Thank you, Chris. Nicole, do you have anything on the clerk's report?
We're looking into the health insurance that we had discussed formally for the employees and who is covered. There are some concerns that how it falls under with the former treasurer. I'd like to get placed on the agenda for the next meeting so we can go through this. I've already had correspondence with Attorney Gildner. He's going to research a few things for us and hopefully we can bring it back to the next board meeting.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, we'll move on to bills for approval for January 2021.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
A second.
Is there any discussion?
I have a question.
Yes.
You can hear me or not? Is that better?
Okay.
Nicole, I have a question on those attorney bills that are broken out. Are those checks written individually?
So that's what we're gonna do going forward. I did call Erica, at Attorney Gilder's office, and I'm waiting for a return call. I don't think that this is an accurate amount. I think it's considerably less than that, but I wanted to verify with her, but that's why I put the amount on here as it shows on the bill, because as it's broke down for each individual category, it actually comes in as a separate bill but has one total. So I think that going forward, we should pay all those bills individually. So there's a separate check for each case, and I know that that's to help them as to what they're dealing with. That's how they break it down according to her.
Right.
But instead of just cutting them one check, I think that we should just do each one individually. Because if it's just for general professional services, that's what it's going to, and it's not going to the remainder of the specific bills.
Okay. Another question. On those checks individually, is the invoice number noted on the check so that they know that it goes on that particular invoice?
Yeah, so going forward, all that information will be there instead of just one check for all of it.
Correct.
And then so once, because like I said, they have 2 payments now that we got credit for. So I'm thinking that we have to direct that. I'm waiting to hear back from her how we're going to handle this. I don't know if Attorney Gilder knows that process part of it or not. So we can pay these ones individually for the top 3.
Correct.
And get those ones done and over with, and then everything going forward will just be whatever professional services or anything else that may be existing with one of these that are on here. If there's discussion or, conference with him, of course that charge will go on there. It'll still go under that invoice number, from what I understand, under that case. So we'll still have to continue to pay it as an individual bill. I think it would just be a best interest. I know it's like cutting 3 and 4 checks to one place, but I think that it will clear everything up.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question.
That's Rob.
Okay. It's regarding the attorney bill for it's the month of January, or we're going to approve it for whatever, from December the 1st. Evidently, there was a balance owing, because I've got a 4381 bill here, but yet it's, they want to approve $6,013, okay? There was evidently a past due balance or whatever on there. How did it add up? Because then if you look down to A, B, and C, we have different, there's a breakdown here of $91, $390, $111, and then the professional service of $4381, and they don't add together to the $6,013.
That's why I called her.
What's that?
That's why I called her, because we had a discrepancy. So I put the full amount on there is what the bill said, and then I put the balances on there as to what is on the bill.
So the 6,013, that will pay us up, that's paid up what past due, what,
I think it's less than that.
That's less than that.
Yes.
Okay, then I got another question. I asked earlier, is that, and maybe Mr. Gilner could answer it, if he doesn't have the answer to it, you can say, you can look it up. On December the 15th, we had the meeting here that the police were called. It was a short meeting. I just want to know if we're paying for paying Zoom to host the meeting. I don't know how that works. I'm not a technical guy.
So, I was present for that meeting, if I recall.
You want to look at what I'm talking, you want to look at this, and then you can say that if you don't have the here's what I was concerned about here with the charge. This is I don't know, it comes over, and then this is the charge, your charge, which here's that on the money, but I just don't know what that means. I don't know if it's a mistake.
So, what that is the initial CAS next to hosted Zoom meeting or something like that, that refers to Chris, and MJG is me.
Yeah, I understand that.
That was the meeting where I was physically present, couldn't log into Zoom, and called Chris, who was at a distance, who hosted it.
Okay, now I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, well, he was hosting, so you were here.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted. I didn't know what that meant. Clear it up.
Question. Charlie, did you have a question?
Well, I did, but I think it's kind of, and that was my concern, is I was trying to decide if if the 4,381 or the 6,013 was our outstanding current balance. And so I was trying to figure out if we carried some over or if there was, that's the same thing Ralph was concerned, I was trying to figure out the same thing.
So when you take the $6,013 and you add up the four bills that are A through D, you come up with $49.73, which is a difference of $1,040. That's why it is the call. So, and when I called on Friday, she said she was working from, well, I got, the girl in the office said that Erica was working from home that day, and I never heard back.
So do we, let me just ask you one more thing, just because I don't understand. Do we keep a running total every month, we just add to it and we just pay them whatever the current bill, or do we clear them at some point and then, or do we just keep running the total?
I think it goes to the end of the month. So what I'm gonna do, once this is cleared up, and once we get on an even keel, we have all of the prior, cases right here, where we don't owe them anything. Like I said, the next month it could change, because we could get a call regarding client A, and then, so that starts A all over again. But then I'm going to make sure that with the attorney bill, that all of the board members have a copy of that attorney bill. So if anybody has any questions or whatever, then we can go over. But that's what I was questioning, was the difference of $1,040.
So, and this motion we got currently, what are we gonna pay then? I mean, what are you asking to pay here?
Well, I just took it at what the max of the bill was, which it came in at $6,013. I don't think it's anywhere near. So, because we mailed out 2 payments to them since then. So that's why I called Erica to find out if that had been applied to, where the difference was with $1,040. And so as soon as we get that information, then we'll know exactly what the amount is.
So today, you know, are we gonna pay the 4381? Is that our plan? I just don't know what we're gonna put in, you know, what are we gonna pay?
I would say it'll be less than that. We can hold it at 40.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's what okay. All right.
So is there a motion on the table right now? The motion is to just pay the bills, just like as this reads, you say?
I made the motion to pay the bills, and Julie supported it, and everybody in the conversation. So,
Just the amount, yeah.
amend it to do the attorney's bill no more than $4,380.
Julie, do you want to support that?
I do.
We'll go with a roll call vote, please.
Eric,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
Ralph,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Rachel,
Yes.
oh yes.
Motion passed 7-0. John, do you have anything for the fire authority?
Not really, no. The meeting, the special meeting we arranged is for tomorrow, so we should have some more stuff after that.
And we don't believe we have any other committee reports on this one. So we will come back around to unfinished business. FOIA coordinator, there's some information in your boxes, kind of discussed with a couple board members prior to the meeting. And I guess, is there any discussion at the table? I know that this is kind of something that's been out there. This is the FOIA procedures and guidelines that I pulled from 2015 that were in a June 2015 packet. The motion I had was that they were adopted. I think there's some gray areas still on what the board wants to do. If the board wants to proceed with these guidelines, if they want to resend these guidelines, if they want to proceed forward. Is there, I guess this is just up for discussion right now because I'm not, there's already been a motion. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
So,
Yes, sir.
if we're going to go ahead and give a discussion real quick, then I guess I'll just start by saying, you know, what is the end goal with the FOIA coordinator? And I guess the procedures, that's one thing, but then I guess, are we going to officially designate someone to be the FOIA coordinator, or does that current position fall back to a current position of someone in this township currently?
Well, that's where I kind of needed the insight. The policy from the authority at MCL 15.236 designates the clerk as the FOIA coordinator. he or she is authorized to designate other township staff to act on his or her behalf to accept and process written requests for the township's public records and approve denials. So that's why I'm stating in this policy, that's what I'm understanding from it, is that Nicole has the authority to appoint anyone that she would prefer to have in that position. I know it's been tossed around a little bit with our part-time person maybe assisting with it. But I just want to make sure we're on the same clear page. Do we want to move forward with this policy that was put into place? Do we want to resend this policy? What is your discussion, Julie?
I think we need to look at it and see if this is a current, because I've noticed in here reading that it has a particular website, that website's inactive.
Yes, it does need updates. It looks like it, like I said, was adopted in 2015.
Right.
So it's definitely something that needs to be gone through and
It
updated.
needs to be updated for sure.
So, are you guys okay with tabling this for one more meeting?
You know,
Document? Yes.
my biggest thing with the FOIA, apparently, and I'm gonna tell you what my biggest thing with everything is, it seems like the money, and it's like, I looked over the attorney, and it's no, I don't wanna go into it, there was a bill on the attorney, but all of a sudden, we're paying attorney fees on somebody who requested some FOIA information, and it ended up being a little bit of money there, and we have to do something to where these people are being charged, and maybe upfront a certain amount, an earnest fee or something, because there's no reason for the township to get caught paying these bills, paying this, and then it just disappears like vaporized, that nobody remembers it or whatever. I mean, we need to start charging them. If they're, I don't have, of course, we're bound by law with this FOIA, but we also, it says in there that we charge a fair price. And some of that fair price means that if we have to have an attorney doing any paperwork on it, they should be made to pay that. And we should, I mean, I'm not, no offense, I mean, but it's just the way it is. If they want to request there's $130 if this bill is in that somebody requested, I don't want to mention any names, but anyways, it's like, if nothing has been collected on it, you know, we're paying the bill, and then we have to chase somebody down to collect it, or they may never show up to get to finalize. So what do we do? It's money, it's the township, it's the people of the township's money.
Absolutely, I agree. And in this old policy, well, that I would assume would be still standing right now unless we rescind it, it does give cost at the back of it. So it kind of gives you some direction on how much to charge people. So that's something that's going to have to definitely be addressed, is we have to make sure we're charging them.
And unfortunately, we need something up front, that even up front when they come in, when they apply for anything on FOIA, that they know that if we have to have an attorney's opinion or whatever regarding anything they're doing, then they should be charged the attorney fee to do it, period. Before we even, I don't know, I guess Mr. Gilner can give us some sort of
Yeah, Gilner, can you
estimate.
give us some insight on that? Does the board have the authority to charge them your fee if we need your input on a?
Yeah, there have been occasions where, for example, records have been given to me and I've had to go through them to redact the information, privileged information. For example, my fee can be factored into the cost that is assessed to the person who's requesting it. And FOIA allows you to demand a good faith payment if the cost exceed $50. So all of that can be done.
That's, there you go.
So, can I comment now?
Absolutely.
So the policy that was passed on June 11th of 2015 had to do with the FOIA coordinator, but it was designated in here that the board designated Clerk Leanne Pennington to serve as the township FOIA coordinator. So therefore, it was specified to one specific individual. It just didn't say township clerk on it. So after having a conversation with Attorney Gilner about this, that most of the time, if it is the clerk, which makes sense, the clerk has the records and that kind of thing, which is fine, but this position was designated to a specific individual and was not ever given to anybody else. So in this book that I have regarding FOIAs, the forms are in here as far as the form you have to fill out, what is required, what the cost is, and going forward. But to me, the reason we haven't billed anybody at this point is because for multiple years, people have received FOIAs, or have received different information from the township and not been charged for it. So therefore, that's why the past couple people that have come in and requested stuff, I have said that this policy will probably change and did not charge them for the information when technically I could have. So, and there's, I believe, something out there that we have written up in one of the township policies that says something about, it was brought to my attention today by a resident, and about stuff is given to the township residents for free, whatever the case may be, but this FOIA thing is state information, and we can't just change things because we decide we want to give people stuff for free, or this, that, and the other thing, if the document has to be redacted, or whatever. So it's a process, I get it, I've read through it, I understand it, I've been trying to do them as best I can going forward, but like I said, it's not a matter where we just put in place what we want to say is going to happen. We have guidelines, and we have to follow them, and they should be held up to everybody to get them. I mean, I've heard, oh, if you're with the press, you get it for free, and all this other stuff, and that's not true. So, and on the bottom of the FOIA form, it does state that you have to, let me find this so I can tell you exactly what it says. Where you have to state that this response time, to extend the township's response time for this request until whatever it says month, day, and year. Well, when that's not filled out, then it's not accurate information. We can't just give FOIAs until the end of time. And it was suggested to me by MTA that we only do like board packet FOIAs and stuff, information like that with only like a 90-day time frame. Because you're actually FOIAing information that hasn't even taken place yet. So you're actually putting in for a FOIA that we have no business on. So as I said, you have to kind of go by the guidelines.
Yes, Jen?
I just, instead of spending more time on this, it's currently in effect, why don't we bring it back, put your tweaking in it, bring it back to us so we can look at it and then get it repassed, and if the goal is willing to be the FOIA coordinator, then we'll just write it in there, or we can just take the wording to the clerk. I don't care, however, but we got to resolve that issue in there. So just bring it back to us with however it's resolved, and we need to get it passed, and we can just move on.
And then, but from now until then, do we want to, Nicole, are you willing to continue doing the FOIA coordinator from now till then, or do we want to possibly?
No, I'll do it. I just want to make sure it's done correctly.
Yeah.
That's all.
Just get the policy cleaned up, we should be good.
Okay.
So we're going to table that, is that our plan?
Yes, I'll make a motion to table FOIA coordinator until our first meeting in February.
Yeah, I'll support that.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed 7-0. Okay, let's move down to the approval of Precision Capital LLC. I haven't had a minute to drive past here to see if he has cleaned anything up. I don't know if any of my board members have spoken.
I went by there actually on my way here, and I thought I was there yesterday, and I caught up with Mr. Stanley in Austin, and anyways, they made significant progress. In fact, I thought today when I was here, and he was finishing up, he's got these trailers pretty well moved. They got their mobile home out of the mud over there, and they got somebody going to move that. So I've been by there several times, and I'm willing to let them go forward on it myself as far as it's made significant progress, and I appreciate that. And Dave promised me, he says, I'll make sure it's cleaned up, the rest of it or whatever. Most of that stuff now is smaller stuff, and now that we're friends with the Chinese, the price of scrap's going up, so they go in there and somebody will go in there and steal it for us or whatever for you, maybe, whatever. But he's made big progress. I was more concerned about those titled vehicles, the titled trailers in there, because it's a little difficult getting rid of that stuff. Anyways, if you're happy with it, I mean, I talked to Austin yesterday and I said, you know, I'm satisfied they're making progress.
I'm gonna go off your recommendation because you've been all over this
Yeah.
for us and we appreciate that as a board.
I might see there tonight, just putting money back in there.
Thank you. So I'll make the motion to approve the site plan Precision Capital LLC, 10040 North Dordt Highway.
I'll second it.
Can we do a roll call vote on that real quick?
Madam
Oh,
Chair.
sorry, discussion. I'm sorry, Eric.
Look, I spoke with the other gentleman that we directed back to the planning commission for a further review on the fence that he had around the facility. I stopped and spoke with them in person, and they seem to be very on board of changing that. And they agreed with my point that the fence does not look all that sightly, and so they're willing to change that and correct it in a big way and put a plan of that motion to the planning commission. But that's like a specific thing that can be put into a motion of promise. Whereas I pause on this particular issue because we asked to get the site cleaned up. But I drove by and I saw it. I mean, it didn't look all that much different to me. And I guess maybe what we are considering site cleanup, I guess maybe is now a matter of opinion. And as far as my opinion goes, I don't think much has been done. And I don't want to give an approval on something that someone has already failed to meet a promise on. This is my opinion. Thank you.
Are you Austin?
Yes.
Austin, can you tell us what you have done since the last meeting? Exactly over there?
They just finished up cleaning the removing the six semi-truck trailers that was out in the lot. The modular homes that were in that back lot, it was a double-wide modular home. They pulled it out into the parking lot so that they could get the...
Could you get a little closer to the mic, please?
Sorry, is that better?
Yeah, because
Alright, so he pulled the modular home into the parking lot, and as I left today to come here, they were still getting it prepped. It's scheduled to leave this week. They had to get it wrapped and a bunch of the tires fixed so that they can move it because they needed a special permit to move it, they said. The concrete debris is all gone. Pretty much all of the cars that were out in that lot, I think there's one left in the parking lot that's on a trailer, as well as like a pontoon that's on a trailer that they're supposed to be pulling out tomorrow. So most of the stuff protruding over the fence have been removed, and they're still continuing to move it over the next couple of days. But all of the big stuff, besides that bus and that mobile home that's left in the parking lot, has been removed.
But here's the thing, really, I'm gonna add something here. I mean, today, we're really only approving the site plan, I mean, we're not really going forward. I mean, he's doing work in the building and that. I mean, really, you'd have to come back before us anyways to get an occupancy on the whole, certificate of occupancy on the whole thing. But what I'm saying is that there's still cleaning up. Dave Stanley, he promised me tonight, he said, I'll make sure this is cleaned up. He said, and I trust him to that point. I mean, I understand that he's had several months to do this, but, excuses don't produce results. I mean, I understand this, but he's made significant progress with that, and I think I'm going to go ahead and give him a chance to just go ahead and approve it at this point in time. I'm not saying there isn't work to be done there, but it's like you're the buyer of that building, and then what's going to happen is if we go after anybody, it's going to be you, not Dave. So then you may have a course with Dave, but it's like I'm all for him going forward with his plans there in that building. It's like it's been several months that he was before the planning commission. So.
Yes.
And the planning commission's recommendation was to approve his site plan?
They approved the site plan on the basis that it was cleaned up, and he brought the contract in that night. We took a picture of the contract. There was 3 of us on it, the same night that the old June's floor was there. There was only 3 of us in the planning commission that night that showed up. Now, it's like I told you, at that time, I know Dave. I knew Dave, I done work for Dave several years ago, and that has nothing to do with it as far as, because he needs to clean that up. But truthfully, it's like, where do we draw the line? Do we say we wait until grass grows there or whatever, you know, and somewhere along the line, we gotta let him go forward with the plan on it. I mean, it's like there has been significant progress made. I mean, the semi-trailers are gone, and, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's been done.
So just one more follow-up. So all the building permits and all those permits, that's kind of a moot point to this. You're gonna have to pull those and comply with all those either way. The
Yeah.
only problem and concern is with the site.
Yeah,
Site cleanup. So then let me ask you this, so to Eric's point related to the fence, what's your intention for the fence?
So right now, we have no additional permits to change it as is. It's a 6-foot chain link fence with privacy screen over it, but we're happy to do whatever the township prefers. That's just what was there when we approved it.
John, if you might have been confused, Eric is referring to another property.
Oh, it's not-
that we have a box.
Right, no, I'm referring to a different property.
Oh, okay.
That, right, that they made the promise on to come for the planning commission, contingent on their final approval. As long as we put the, contingency of final approval, like what Ralph's saying, their certificate of occupancy on their final filled out, or their final approval, then I don't see a problem. As long as we're not, for giving them as long as we're not giving them the permission all the way, I don't have an issue, giving them permission to move forward, as long as we have the final say in what that, obviously the whole reason we stopped the other place is because we just thought it was not sightly. And therefore, we're trying to beautify the township, and,
That's kind of a moot point. If you're approving the site plan that they produce to the planning commission, that's the site plan. You don't get to say the site plan's this later, it's the site plan. If you approve it, you approve whatever they told you in that site plan, that's it. There's no in-betweens there. So I'm just saying that for the book members of the board voting, if you're approving it, you're approving what they said they were gonna do, that says, where they said they were gonna draw this, that's what it is. That's it. So I'm just letting you know that's how it is. I mean, I'm not opposed or either way. I mean, it sounds like you're complying. I'm just telling you, when you're approving it, you're approving it. There's no in between. They're gonna have to do this later.
So we do have a motion on the table to approve the site plan for Precision Capital LLC, 10040 North Dork Highway, support by Ralph Henry. Can we do a roll call vote, please, Nicole?
Julie,
Yes.
Ralph,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Eric,
yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Rachel.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion passed 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay,
Austin.
good luck.
So let's review, we had agreement between Thetford Township and Marie Canterbury. She wanted us to look into paying her parcel.
I'll make a motion that we accept the proposal that she proposed at $7 a part.
I'll second. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead, Ms. Julie.
I handed out if you look at the agreement under 15, the parcel numbers that are active, she stated was 2,663. That's incorrect. I gave you each a sheet that has the actual amount of active parcels. Yes. I highlighted the number.
So that's 3,101?
Yes,
I was wondering where that came from.
yes.
So,
So then at $7,
Yes.
that would change that number at the end to $21,707.
And I appreciate doing that research there, so we know exactly what we're spending there.
yeah, likewise.
Also, when I talked to Marie, this isn't a check that would be written directly out, $21,000. It would be written out per pay period, so we could take that amount and divide it by however many pay periods we have. And really, we're getting a very reasonable deal, very reasonable deal.
A lot of other yeah, the per parcel fee is generally higher than that.
Do we have any more discussion?
So you said she's gonna be paid bi-weekly, correct?
Yes,
Okay, so on the
$21,707.
that makes it about $834.88 per pay period, because we have 26 days.
So I got a question for you, because I talked to Marie about this, and so that's going to put in an increase of about $5,000 to $6,000 on what she's making now. I'm asking somebody that knows, I don't have them.
I don't have that particular.
I think, I want to say it's 5 to 6. I don't have the figures. I asked her, and now, you know, I'm at a point now because I just got this from Julie tonight about these parcels, and now it's up to 21,000. And now I'm kind of, I'm not ready to make that decision to increase somebody's pay by $6,000 here tonight.
Rob, if I may help you, I'll give you a couple points. She gets paid $10 per parcel in other townships, and I'm just giving you a basis, an idea. Where this is, I think this is a good deal. This seems a very good deal.
I don't care about other townships. I'm concerned about this township. All of a sudden, how we've got, and it may be a good deal. I haven't had a chance. Look, I've got paperwork here that every time I do it, I've got papers this, that I'm going through. Some of them are duplicates. And I'm just telling you, I haven't had a chance to really, and then I just got this today, this afternoon, or whenever I showed up, so I'm now trying to crunch the numbers in my head, and I'm just not, and I'm not saying it's a bad deal. What I'm saying is I'm surprised, I'm blindsided by it, because it was a $3,000 increase, and now it's double the increase of what was told to me, which is now it's up to $6,000 instead of $3,000. And I'm not saying this, I'm not by no means saying she's not worth it. I haven't researched this amount.
One second, we're going to give you some numbers, but we believe it is an increase.
Okay.
Approximately, get us in the ballpark. We're just trying to look and see what she made last year. That's what she's doing, Ralph.
It's all right, I'm patient.
Yeah.
I'm really not patient, but I will be patient.
Okay, so roughly, I think we're looking at roughly 14,739 is what we paid. So now we're looking at 21,707, difference of 69.68. That's a difference of almost $7,000.
It's closer to 7, see. I mean, I don't have the calculators. But anyways, I don't know that myself personally, I'm willing to just do that because I was kind of blindsided now. I mean, I'm not saying anybody's figures, but it's like, I wasn't aware of them figures until Julie brought it. That's what I'm saying. And to increase somebody's pay by basically doubling the increase, I've got a problem with that right at the moment.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Eric.
Marie currently has done, or at least in the past, with the last board and did some other work, including the secretary work for both the Planning Commission and the Zoning Board of Appeals. Is that something that she's going to continue? And if not, then do we have someone lined up to be that designated person? And if not, do we need to discuss that? And also, in conjunction with what Ralph is saying, is that something that we need to take into consideration as a part of this discussion and decision-making process?
Yes. The reason being is, no, she's not going to be doing the paperwork anymore. I kind of took it over, the deputy right now for a minute, until we can figure out, hopefully, I'm hoping we can get a job description made up for a part-time employee.
Sure.
And possibly include that into our part-time employee's position.
Sure.
So yeah, that was something you guys can take into
So
consideration.
now, the problem therein lies is that we're increasing her pay by about $6,000 per year, or $6,900. And now, I mean, I understand she was only coming in there and doing the minutes for the planning commission and all that, but now we gotta hire somebody part-time to do that. So now it's like 69 plus, whatever part-time help we get to come in and do that.
Well, I'm hoping April, when we kind of get her a job description, figure out someone can help us with that. Hopefully, we'll come back around.
I don't even want to go into this because it's like now all of a sudden, we're up to $7,000 more on one person, and then we got to hire another person. And anyway, you know, I'm getting to where I have a problem with all the administration costs here. And when we got a code enforcement ad for a code enforcement officer, and you know, we need some feet on the street, and then most of this stuff is administration stuff. But I got a problem with that.
But will she be doing all of these in 1 year, or is it just her?
I don't believe she does them all in one
No.
year. And that's maybe where I was misunderstanding. I thought she was going to charge us per parcel. She did within 2 weeks. I didn't know we were taking the parcels and dividing them.
She is going to do 20% of the township a year. So that's how the parcels are based, that's why the number comes out that way, because she's trying to accomplish and that's really per the county. You know, and I'll do this little spiel again, but, you know, a couple of years ago, the county came in and did a spot assessment. They assessed whatever it was, 20 properties, and they said, wow, these are a mess. So you either start rechecking every property, or we'll just assess you what we think the error range is across the board. So they gave us 4 years to do that, and they said, as long as you stay on the plan, we're going to stay off your case. That's why she's doing it. She has to physically check 20% until she gets through the system, and then I just don't know what happens after that point. But that's why she's doing what she's doing, is because if she doesn't, they're going to go back to their plan B.
Well, do we need to see how far we
But
are?
yeah, and that I don't know how far we're in it. No, I don't know. So you could ask for that, but
I personally would like a little bit more information on this. I mean, all of a sudden, you know, well, it's like to increase the payout by $6,900 is like, that's kind of a huge chunk of money. You know, it's like that.
and that's,
Was there a motion on the table though already? I don't understand the motion to it.
I made that motion.
Yeah, John made the motion to adopt her agreement.
Do you want to continue with that motion?
I do. And I'll just put my last and final statement with that. Based on the research that I've looked, if she walked away tomorrow, you would not find someone for that rate.
I'm not saying that. I'm just, you know, but I don't know that.
So I just,
You know, what I'm saying is that I'm not saying she's too high or anything, or we can't get anybody any cheaper, but I really don't know that. This is the information that that has been given to me tonight, so I'm going by the facts that are in front of me, not speculating on what it would take to get somebody to replace her. I'm not the type of...
No, are we passing this motion based on the 2,663 parcels that she put in here, or are we passing this motion based on the 3,101
question, look at it all.
parcels?
So,
Because that's a
let me ask you...
few $1,000 difference as
Can I
well.
ask Julie a question,
Yes.
please? How did you arrive at this increase? I mean, is there something that we're missing from is it the personal property that maybe we may be missing? I mean, I don't understand how it can be so far off.
This is the sheet that she gave me today.
This one that you relayed to us.
Right, and it says the total real and personal is at 3,101.
You know, so, let me look at what she's, okay.
If you look at the real property above that,
Okay.
just in that
so-
section, it
so-
says it's
so
2,973.
So she says 2,663 is what this is, what this letter from,
Right.
this is what, 2,663 active parcels. So she might be just going by real
It
parcels.
looks like industrial. It looks like she's only doing industrial and
Well,
residential.
there's not,
She doesn't include
the industrial would be the personal property. So it's like, so I just wonder if there's a confusion here of the 2663, is that real property? And then you're including the real and personal property? Because you're up to 31, I mean, I don't know what the personal, I don't know how many we got a personal property tax coming in.
128.
That's it?
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Oh, give me 1 second, Gary.
Okay, the numbers aren't good.
I would say we can go with the motion. I think that just needs to be the confidence on that.
That's what I say. I mean, if it's 2663, it is. If it's 3100, it is. We can't, that's a huge difference.
It is, it's a few $1,000 difference.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not saying that I'm against it, it's just not knowing for sure.
So are you suggesting to bring it back again?
I would until we talk to Marie or even invite Marie to our next meeting to explain to us. Maybe that
I
gives us a
think
little
Marie
bit
should,
more.
I don't have a problem talking to
Leeway.
Marie about it.
But just with there being such a big difference in numbers, I mean, that's
Yeah,
a huge difference. I agree with you, Ralph. And it's concerning to vote on something when there's like $3,000 leeway.
Right.
Right.
I don't have a problem rescinding my motion as long as we get it back on the agenda to get it resolved.
That'll be fine with me.
And then, who supported that? Was that Chris?
Chris did.
Do you want to rescind your support as well?
Yes.
Okay. And I will make another motion to table this until our first February meeting for Marie Stanke at Thetford Township agreement.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion passed 7-0. Okay, we will move down to the appointment of ZBA. I wanted to make a motion to reappoint John Condon from the Board of Trustees. No, it's the ZBA.
Oh,
It's
sorry.
been for a while.
I'm confused. Okay. No, I haven't done that yet. Well, yeah, it went on. I just didn't have a meeting yet. Yeah, okay, great.
I'm good.
I'm sorry.
With him then?
I think you're good with him, he was just appointed this year.
I don't know dates.
Is it a 3-year appointment, is it, or not?
Yeah, it was the appointment from the Board of Trustees, but he was appointed on the last board this year. But I wasn't sure if I had to reappoint him with us having a new
Or if you
board.
want to make it formal, I don't, reappoint.
I guess it doesn't hurt nothing, does it?
So we'll make it formal. I'll make a motion to reappoint John Condon from the Board of Trustees to the ZBA.
Okay.
Any support?
I'll support it.
Ralph supported it.
We might as well support it.
Can I get a roll call vote real quick, please?
You were appointed?
Actually, I do think I was appointed, but we just never had a meeting, so I haven't had a meeting since I've been appointed, but
When were you appointed?
seems like,
Last year.
February or March?
yeah, it was last year. Yeah,
Same time, Tom,
that's right.
Yep.
That's correct.
And is John our only board representative on the zoning board of appeals?
Am I able to appoint another one?
No.
I can only appoint one to each board.
No, I just want to make sure he was our board appointed, our board appointed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any more discussion?
So how many openings are on the zoning board?
If I'm correct, correct, I only had the two, not including John. If I'm correct.
The chairman, I only met him once, I did not call his name.
Mike?
He's not playing.
No, that's not Mike Frommuller. That's Mike Buckland. And he's just with the CBA, I got it. His brochure.
Madam Chairman,
Tommy, right?
He was, yeah.
Yes.
so those terms are for specific terms and they should be staggered. And so if John was just appointed, we should just really nail down how long is that term, when does it end? So that the next time you know it's up, it needs to be reappointed. It doesn't need to be done with every new board. They're staggered specific terms.
I hate to do this. If we take a 10-minute recess, I'll make the motion to, I do have it typed up in the back, and then I can at least give everyone a copy so they can see what I'm looking at as far as appointing members. Okay, so I have a motion and support. All in favor, say yea.
Okay.
Okay, we're taking a 10-minute break at 7:28.
Support.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passed 7-0. Okay, so we are going to move to appoint Kevin Lawrence to the, so I'm going to make a motion to appoint Kevin Lawrence to the zoning board in replace of Alan Levin. John, am I saying his last name correctly? Levioki.
Thanks.
Madam Chairman, that would be for a term ending when?
This will be a term that will start December 20 and end December 23.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
did you already have support?
Okay.
Does anybody want to support?
I'll support. Okay, is Kevin Lawrence here?
No. Oh, hi, Kevin. I can't see you back there.
He's got camera on.
Is there discussion?
Yeah, Madam Chairman, if I may, I want to see this township go in a good direction, and I do. Kevin, I think you do some good things for this township. I think you've had some good ideas, and I do think that you have good ideas that will be useful in the future. But I also see you as the center of a lot of the drama in this township. And it concerns me that your appointment to this board is piggyback on trying to undermine a lot of what this board's direction and the individuals on this board's integrity it has. And I've seen you just continuously undermine people's integrity, and I have an issue with that, and I can't give you my vote based on that.
Is there any other discussion? Can we move forward with the roll call vote, please?
Ralph,
No.
Julie,
No.
Eric,
No.
John,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
no, Rachel.
Yes. Motion failed, 3-4. Okay, we will move to appoint Peggy Castle to the ZBA in place of Alan Levitchuck. Let's see where that goes.
Is that your motion?
Yes.
Okay, I'll support it.
Madam Chair, if I may,
Yes.
is Peggy Castle here?
I don't believe so.
I just typically shy away from appointing people that do not appear in person. I really think that that's important if you want an appointment to this board, I think it's important that you show up. Furthermore, I think that Peggy has also been very vocal on the ideas that this board has put forth, that, meeting in person and all that she objects to, and things like that. When a board decides, we speak as one voice. I think that's clear. Peggy is also on the letter of concerns addressed to the township board, and I read that letter, and I'm not too happy with that. And this board has had barely had a chance to get past a rough honeymoon and on to business. COVID-19 has certainly slowed this board's progress down. But when members of this community go against our decisions and try to undermine our integrity with the authorities or the township individuals, I have an issue with that. And I don't have the confidence to vote for Mrs. Castle.
Okay.
Yes.
I just got to do a little follow-up with that. I think that I differ a little bit from Eric's view in that I feel that I welcome other opinions. I think everyone on this board has had a disagreement with the township at some point. All of us have. And so for people to voice their opinion that things they're not dissatisfied with, I think that's what you should do. I think the whole county knows that Thetford, kind of that also, but I think they think for themselves, and they don't agree with everyone, and that's not a bad thing necessarily. So that's my point. That's all my point is.
Can I say something?
Sure. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. I'm kind of on board with both scenarios here. A big thing is I think that if you have your concerns, we've said this for multiple months.
Mrs. Moore, could you use your microphone a little closer?
Yep.
Thank you.
So I said I agree with both of their viewpoints. And for months in this township, since I've been here, since before I got here, and everything else, the door has always been open for people to come in and voice their concerns. We like it when people come in, and if it's negative, it's negative. If it's positive, it's positive. We try to work on the behalf of the residents as best as we can. I agree with Eric, we're a new board, and we need to do some positivity going forward. I think part of those reasons that people are saying there's not that positivity going forward is you have to realize, when I came on this board, and it's not about me, I was the only certain party on this board versus 6 other from a different party. And so there was a lot of button heads. Now we're in that situation where there's pretty much 5 from one party and 2 from another party. So the same things are happening on a national level that are happening right here on this small level. As far as the discussing and stuff, like I said, the door's open, the phones are there, there's email, there's everything. And well, not so much email for me right now, but there's other ways to communicate. And I just feel that Facebooking is just a huge demise to this township, and I just feel it draws up more negativity than positivity. You very seldom see any positive comments about anything that board members are doing, or someone's in the office maybe trying to help out or whatever, and it's always negative, negative, negative. And I just, when you're voicing your opinions out there, granted, we all have negative opinions, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but the thing is 90% of it is negative. How can you be positive on the inside when there's so much negativity on the outside? And then it draws into the inside, and it affects the employees that work there or who are trying to make a difference and do the right thing. And I said this the second month I was here. I don't think anybody wants positivity in this township, and I'll stand by it and say it again. Because no matter if it's positive or not, somebody will go the extra mile and pick and poke and prod and say, oh no, they didn't dot their I's and cross their T's, so oh my gosh, let's take them and have them arrested and do this and do that. And I just feel that's where a lot of the negativity comes from. If you got something, by all means bring it in. Why slaughter it out there all over social media? So that's just my 2 cents.
so we have a motion, any more discussion?
Well, I just want to add to that. When I served with Peggy on the planning commission, and I like Peggy, but I believe that she was a little ineffective on it. I'm just putting my own, I don't think she's, I'm not saying that she doesn't have her qualities or anything like that, but I think that putting on a board like that, at this point in time, I'm opposed to it.
So we'll move forward with a roll call vote, please.
John,
Yes.
Chris,
No.
Julie,
No.
Ralph,
No.
Eric,
No.
Rachel.
Yes. Motion failed 2-5. Okay, so my next appointment is going to be,
Can we back up to that? That's around the zoning board appointment? That's a zoning board, right?
yep, I'm moving to the planning.
Can we back up to that? Because I would like to nominate somebody to serve on the zoning board. Is that permissible?
Well, you can give me their name and I can call them if that's okay. And then-
Well, that's all right. I don't know that that's necessary to call him, but anyways, I'm going to make a nomination here. The guy is overqualified, so it's overqualified for the position, but I'm going to nominate, I'm going to cross party lines here. I'm a Republican and he's a Democrat, but I'm going to cross those lines to show you what kind of guy I am. Anyways, I'm going to nominate Gary Stevens to serve on the zoning board. And he's been on it before, so he knows what it's all about. He's got, expertise there. I'm going to nominate him.
I'll support Ralph's motion.
We got motion and support. You want to do a roll call vote?
Ralph made a motion, you have to support?
Yes. Are we still talking to the CBA still?
Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Ralph,
Yes.
Rachel.
Yes. Motion passed 7-0.
We didn't ask him if he wanted the job, by the way. You're sorry, Jan.
Just assumed it was something to discuss.
I'm sorry, Gary.
Okay, so we'll move forward with the planning commission. So I'm going to make a appointment of Crystal Alexander, actually one of my board members. Congratulations, by the way. Ralph, I'm going to replace you with Crystal Alexander. I'm making the motion to replace you with Crystal Alexander.
What now?
The planning commission. I had to pick between you.
Okay, you can,
I don't think,
you can't have two board members.
I don't think I can be on that.
Yeah, that's what I'm making a motion to replace you.
Oh, to replace me.
Can I get any support on that?
Yeah, I'll support that.
Do you want discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair. Is Crystal Alexander here today?
No.
Again, Madam Chairman, I'm going to reiterate my first point that I do not like giving out appointments to people that do not show up and appear in person. And aside from that, I have been informed that Crystal Alexander made a mistake or an error during her volunteer position during the elections. If she was here, I'd give her an opportunity to address that error or clear up any misinformation that I may have. Although this is in regards to a photograph of elections, and in my opinion, when you get hired or you're appointed for a position in office, when you make a mistake, it's okay. We all make errors. human errors is a real thing, but, you know, if you went to the training and then you knew what not to do, and you kind of did it anyway, that kind of tells me that either, you know, that this job may not be the best position for you. I don't have the confidence in this person, just given what I know. And if this person was here that I could ask questions to, I might consider other options, but.
I wish you would have let me know, and I would have let you reach out to her. I think that, I think sometimes we're too quick to jump to a decision about somebody, but we'll go ahead. Is there any more discussion? Okay, we'll go with the roll call vote, please.
John?
Yes.
Eric?
No.
Julie?
No.
Ralph?
No.
Chris?
No.
No. Rachel?
Yes. 2-5, motion failed. Okay, I will go ahead and make one more motion to nominate Sarah Stoutenberg to the Planning Commission. She's my backup. Gotta get somebody on there. She's a Thetford resident, lived here her whole life, works at GM. She's not with us tonight, I believe she's working. It's somebody that no one really knows, so hopefully that's it. So I got a motion, can I get at least some?
I'll support that. And in full disclosure, I know Sarah Stoutenberg. She's my niece. You can't say
And
that.
I don't know her through him, I know her through football, just so we know. But she's born and raised in Clio schools. I just know her through our kids being friends, so just to make that clear.
So is it, can I talk?
Yes.
So is it possible, we kind of know the other people that were running for these positions, is it kind of possible to meet her maybe first?
Absolutely. We need to know her. So I will invite her to our next board meeting in February. And then in the meantime, I'll also invite whomever another position for the zoning.
So we have one open for zoning and one for planning.
Okay, so,
Do you need to rescind your motion?
yes, I'll rescind my motion to appoint Sarah Southford currently to the planning.
I might support as well.
And then I will move to make a motion to reappoint Julie Tapp. She's currently the chair of Park and Recreation.
I'll support that.
Can we move forward with a roll call vote, please?
Chris?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Feels good to vote for yourself, don't it?
I know, I wasn't very confident, yes.
It's kind of shy.
Bittersweet. Yes, Rachel?
Yes. Motion passed 7-0. Okay, we're going to move on to IT upgrades.
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
I'm sorry. You skipped over a reappointment of myself to the Planning Commission of the Board of Trustees.
Oh my gosh, Eric, I'm sorry, I missed you. See, you got to talking and I
It's
got
okay.
distracted.
And just to clarify for the board, I have served on the Planning Commission since about 2012, 2013, somewhere there. I can't remember exactly, but I have been on there two terms. I certainly serve at the board's pleasure. If the board so chooses that I step down or you would like to replace me, please feel free to do that. Feel free to exercise your opinion however you see fit. But I will say this, I do think that I have been very effective on the Planning Commission. I do think that I have this township's best interest in mind. With that, I just call the question to you, Madam Chair.
Well, I'll make the motion.
Madam Chair, do we,
You want me to-
well, his appointment goes until November of 24.
It will go until November of '24.
So
He was never appointed in November. Yeah, we had to adjust some things, so he hasn't been appointed yet. They haven't had a planning
Oh, okay.
meeting recently.
Oh, okay.
So I'll make an appointment to reappoint Eric Gunnels from the Board of Trustees to the Planning Commission Board.
I'll support.
Can we do a roll call vote real quick, please?
John,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
Ralph,
Yes.
Rachel,
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Oh, yes, motion.
Motion passed 7-0. Okay, we will move on to IT upgrades within the township offices. We've had 3 wonderful estimates, kind of been something I think the whole office has been hard at work trying to get together. I hope everyone had a chance to review them. I don't know if you did, I did speak with Turner Tech Services. I think you did as well, because you got the same quote I got. Do you want to go over that, or do you want me to go over that? I'm not sure what he said to you. I think the Turner Tech Services, I know, is one of our priciest estimates that we received. But he's willing to work with us on some payment issues. And he has one of the best estimates, I believe, detailed on what he's going to do. And I think the majority of us talked to him. I don't know if anybody has any comments or discussions about any of the estimates we would like to look at.
I like this contractor, just for some of the reasons you said. One of the contractors didn't detail what model server he was going to use. This contractor did, tells you what model, what serial number, what he's going to do. He's local, and all the women and men that were in the office believe that he'll call when you come. His company's out of Frankenmuth. It looks like a good provider. The only area of concern is his total care. It's a maintenance fee monthly, and but it's only a year contract also. But this guy is going to set up. Really, he's going to upgrade the entire township, not only with a server but network ports. And so in the future, if we get to where Eric would like to see some cameras, this is step 1. You got to get to here, or you're not going any further. So where I didn't like the other contractors, they looked like they were going to make us work, but they didn't look to me like they were looking down the road. So anyway.
Well,
When I did speak with him earlier today, he had mentioned that the hardware, so if we were to pay the hardware up front, it looks like, I believe his total estimate was $13,270.99. From what if I understood him correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure if you heard from him, that we paid a one-time setup fee of $150, the $470 monthly fee, the $9,276 for the hardware. So that looks as though it totals at $9,896. And then he said he would bill us for the labor, which would be the remainder of the $13,000, that he would work with us on that so that we could budget it into our next fiscal year.
Correct. He said that he's as long as that we pay for the equipment, he'll worry about the labor later. So if I explained to him that we're at the end of our fiscal year, we're trying to see where our finances are, where we can pull from and stuff. He was totally accommodating. He came in here, he was super professional, and any question we asked him, he had an answer to. So this optional feature, if everybody looks at it, it's like next to the last page, I think. Okay, so the optional features, this is optional, so we can knock this off the bid if we want to. I would recommend, just for talking to him, that we don't do that. So it's on the very bottom where it shows $699.99. It's next to the last page where the bid's at.
Are we in the package or the other two?
I'm in this one
That's the
right here.
regular one?
Phase 2. The very top page. So it's where his signature's on the very top page.
I got two of those, so I'm not
Right
sure.
on the very bottom.
Thank
Does
you.
everybody have it?
Okay, optional features.
Okay, so the optional features that he's willing to do for the $699.99 is do a access control key card keyless entry system. He can enable video surveillance, or they can monitor it within this fee that they're charging us. It just depends on what we want. He can set up stuff to work from home, and he can, there was one other thing he told me it wasn't on here. It has something to do with this.
And this is all an optional, once it's set up, we could do any of that, is that correct?
Yes, so,
Okay.
but we can't be guaranteed this figure right here of the $700. It's kind of this package price.
Oh, okay.
So if we decide later we want to do the keyless entry and all of that stuff, it's going to be an additional charge.
Oh, I see. He's saying that you gotta buy the equipment and everything now.
If we had to make it cheaper, this is where we could
Oh, I
lessen
see.
it by the $700.
There's no surveillance in here, so I think that we do need to have some type of surveillance.
So he would run everything except for the cameras.
Sure.
And so all that would be is an added expense, is if we said, hey, we need 2 cameras in here, and we want, one in the wooding entrance and one. So that would be an additional charge, but to set all of this up, so it's just there, and he just has to hook it.
Just ready to plug in.
It's all ready to go.
Yeah, I think we should do that.
So he just said to make sure that we mentioned that, if we have to save money, that's where we can cut a cost, but he can't guarantee what it's gonna be later.
I think we should be ready for.
You're talking about keyless entry thing.
Well, the keyless entry
We
and
have to
wiring
start
for
from the
cameras and all of that
Because
stuff.
it's complicated.
The cameras are going to be wired though in here, right? I mean, like,
Wherever we need them.
He
right.
can do this whole boardroom. He just did Frankenmuth's boardroom, and they put TVs and screens up and video camera in it. So we'll be able to take another step. We can take this in steps, but we have to put ourselves in a position to do
But
this.
it will be all ready to go with, included in the $699.99.
If I may answer.
Yes.
Okay, I like the fact that it's one person to handle all the IT tech of the office and this hall. Okay, I like the fact that.
Now, this might not come right off the gate, but it will be ready for us to be able to,
Understandable,
and we can look at the next budget.
I've waited 8 years, I can wait a few more days.
So like, if you go to
But we
here,
gotta start moving in that direction.
it tells you the phases.
Yes, okay.
Phase
right.
1, 2, and 3. So in phase 1, this is what he's gonna do
Okay.
at that point in time, which is covered in that cost. And then phase 2 and then phase 3.
And I do like the fact that this is only a 1-year contract. So, I mean, there may be things we may look at in this contract within the first year, and we go, wow, and a year later, and we might go, wow, we should be glad we did that. You know what I mean? Because we saved ourselves a lot of headache and a lot of hassle. But at the same time, we can also revisit this a year from now and say, if we don't think we're getting what we're paying for, then we can cancel and go with somebody else or something else.
And we're already set up.
Right, okay.
We already got all the
Okay.
hardware.
Okay, that
They
makes,
tell me the first thing that's gonna be done right out of the gate is the firewall
right.
on the computer. So if we approve this and call him tomorrow, regardless if he has a check or not, he's gonna order the equipment we need.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's holding us up on a lot. I mean, Nicole's literally not getting email. Server is full. Her computer's the main server, which is like ancient.
Right.
We just Plant Moran's having a hard time. We're trying to communicate with them over phone. It's been.
Guys, I'm all about making this township run smoothly and easy,
I have
okay?
no email.
Let's do it.
I have no email. Chris doesn't have an email set up yet, so it's just been frustrating, especially the IT guy we have right now. It's just, we need somebody who's gonna be more hands-on with us and.
And this
And
guy
work with
did
us.
say that, if somebody has specific questions on the board, I have some cards. You can call him direct, there is him and a couple other people that works with him. And it sounds like they each have a specialty that they do. So we'll be dealing with a couple other people, but as far as the contract and all that stuff, we'll be dealing strictly with his company.
I like it. I like it. He calls when you come and you talk to him. He explained everything he was going to do to you and said when he was going to do it. So.
Yep, and he said, like, an example of what they can do with like the keypad is if we had some issues going on in the township, from his system, whoever's monitoring, can actually shut the building down to only a specific person's key card works. So he said that that's a huge safety issue too. So yeah, he's a super good guy. I think everybody on the board would like.
Yeah.
All of the board that I talked to that have personally met him had the same answer. You all were happy with him. You thought that he was very knowledgeable and
The other two, I think the estimates were too vague, we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and he actually, when he met to us too, he was like, they're not telling you what you're not getting in here, you're not getting this, and so he was very, very detailed, so we know what we're getting with him.
Right.
Where we could go with a more vaguer estimate.
Same, we're probably gonna be here to stay estimate anyways.
are you going to, you going to make the motion for the total amount or just what you need this year?
Not sure what the exact amount is.
Or not to exceed amount?
Did he tell you exactly?
My ending amount is, I'll make the motion, well, I would rather make the motion for the full.
I mean, I don't care how you do it, I'm just asking.
I'd rather make the motion for the full 13,000. And the only reason I say that is we can hold out on any of them. But if we have the money at the end of March, and I don't see us, and I can spend the rest of this budget, I'd rather do that.
The name of the
But I don't want to
contract,
push.
make sure you put his name in and the amount and the contract term.
Okay, so I'm going to make the motion to hire Turner Technical Services to do our upgrades within our IT and our township offices at a cost at $13,270.99.
Support.
Madam Chairman,
I should probably.
you could adopt it that way. You just, if you don't, you still need to put the term of the contract. Because not only are we buying the equipment, but we're actually paying for a service for it. Yeah, so you got to adopt it, you have to adopt it.
So I'm going to amend my motion to include to adopt the standard agreement from Turner Tech Services.
I will amend my support.
Is there any discussion? Let's move forward with a roll call vote, please.
John,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Ralph,
Yes.
Rachel.
Yes. Motion passed 7-0. Okay. Okay, so, let's move back to my packet here. So our letter of concerns that we received from our residents, I'm sure that it's been included in our packets, so I'm sure that our board has had some time to review it and look it over. I think it's got some good points in it, some things that we can consider definitely in the future. We're working hard by all means. Is there any discussion? Would the board like to address this in any way? I think their concerns, they have some valid concerns in here that moving forward we can look into.
I would like to ask Attorney Gilner how to go about displaying this letter or reading this letter, whatever.
It's hard to hear down here, but I think you were asking how to read it or publish it.
Yeah, I mean, how should we handle that going forward? I mean, you can sit here and read the whole letter, or
Let's not do that.
is it better to do it in public comment, or what's the best way to?
It's entirely up to you. You can simply acknowledge receipt of it and move on. You can read it, you can have it read. It's up to you. It's your agenda.
Can I add something here? Okay. I don't have a copy. I couldn't find it. But anyways, so far as I know, the three people who are this, names are on here, they didn't sign it. I talked to one of the people that did not sign it. I said, why did you not sign this? The person told me that it was only a draft. So I said, so you didn't read it yourself? And he said, well, the person said, no. So I don't know how much stock you put into it. I'd rather have something that was signed. And not only that, one of the alleged people that wrote this letter. It's a school teacher. I'm very disappointed in that person because there was a grandmother here. I don't know that person even had a chance to look this over of what we're reading here.
It's just valid, it's concerns that our residents have, and I think they just want to make sure that us as boards, I think in some ways we take this wrong, but I think that it's just to make us aware of what their thoughts are and giving us an ideal, and you know, I think a lot of them are willing to step in a little more than what,
I want to say one thing. And if you want to read it, it's fine. I'm not interested.
well, no, I mean, if they want to read it, they're more than welcome to come up here and read it during public comments. I just think this is something that, you know, board members, they just want to bring to our concern, so.
I don't want to, I don't want to get involved in dissecting some letter like that, you know, line by line, but you do everything else.
It's just concerns.
It's like,
It's your concerns, you know, it's your voters and it's their concerns, and I think they just want to make sure that we're aware of it. And if you guys have any discussion or, you know, any thoughts that you would like to address, I think that that's what the letter was written for. It's, you know, and if they choose to share it publicly, then they are more than welcome to, but I think it was more so not for the board, for you guys to take into consideration as we move forward, okay?
there you go.
So we will move on to the social media policy. Things need to be kept really good. I don't know if you guys had time to review it, to look at it. I know we have to try to get some type of standard policy in place because we haven't had one for us to even, you know, consider moving forward. Right now I'm kind of running a township Facebook page and we don't have a policy. I know we want to move in the direction of getting a website back up in order. So I think above all, Nicole had made a comment in the past, you know, that we should probably focus on some type of policy first. So definitely want any of your guys' thoughts in on this, if we should change anything, what your concerns are. To get that started, I'll make a motion to pass the Thetford Township social media and website policy. I don't know if there's any support. You want to go on the
Yeah, I'll
discussion?
support it.
Thank you, John. And then we can go into discussion and amendments and whatnot.
Madam Chair.
Your thoughts are.
Where did you come, was this somebody else's or put it together
Yes,
or?
put together with somebody else that helped write this, yes.
Okay. I think we need to go back and look at trying to get our website back up. I agree with having a policy.
Yeah, I think that was that's the only reason I went this way, because I think it was kind of brought to my attention that we need a policy before we, you know, continue to emphasize on a website and a Facebook.
Correct.
So I wanted to try to get us a standing policy, and then,
Okay,
because we're kind of balanced, I think we just did a couple websites, kind of demonstrations last week, so we're trying to move and trying to get it going.
right, the website that we have needs the credit card approved first so that we can pay for the website.
Right.
So it's not on somebody's personal account that needs to be.
And we can move forward with that, and I think that there are some other avenues too. But yeah, we do gotta go forward. I do like the idea of the credit card, but we gotta get that policy as well brought to the board.
Correct. Well, we
before
have a
pass
credit
that.
card policy already.
And we need some tweaking.
Do we want to bring that back to the board?
We do have a credit card policy that's been in place. John?
I just, you know, I've been thinking about the credit card thing, and it came to my attention that, you know, for the applications, the few applications that we use it, I don't know why we just don't go to Myers and buy a prepaid Visa card. We approve $1,000, we put it on the card, whoever needs to pay for that, and it's done. It's done, and they can't go over the 1,000 because that's all we put in there. I don't know why we don't do that. And that would solve us immediately, we'd be able to pay for that kind of stuff that we need. And then next month, if it said, oh, we spent 1,000, we approve to put another 1,000 on it. And it doesn't take anyone to do it. We could walk down, buy the card with the check, pay it, bring it back, and then whatever the policy is for signs and stuff, you do. But I'm just saying, instead of going through this big, why don't we just do a prepaid? And then we know every month how much is
Maybe your
spent.
means is petty cash too, I don't know which way that we're looking at that, but then if you had a card, then everything was documented on the same. But I don't know, that would be.
The card gets lost. Of course, it doesn't make sense. I mean, $1,000 is a lot, but the card can walk out there.
You don't get you a Visa card, no. You lose that card, you're losing your $1,000. Right.
I just think it's more effective if we have a card in place. I'm not saying it's something we can do temporarily, but if we have a card in place, then that way we have a bill, we have the support documentation. I'm looking at audit purposes and all that other stuff. You know, as far as, you know, everything's itemized, it's used for, you know, things that we need to do for the township. So it's not just that one thing, it's like a lot of things, like when we order our supplies and all that other stuff, we're restricted to go to one place. So we have to pay the big dollar on that place that we go to because we don't have a card to go anywhere else.
And hopefully we can get the website up.
Yeah, it's
Quite quickly, yeah, for right now.
temporarily, and then put in our policy to our credit card policy, and then.
So do we want, are you interested in, bringing the credit card policy, I can put it in the packet for the next one?
Okay.
And then your documentation that you have provided to all of us too, and then we can move forward on that. And then, I don't know if
I don't feel comfortable passing this. And part of the reason is, I think our information, once we get the website going, needs to go there and not on Facebook, because if we limit it to Facebook, there's Facebook,
well, these are two different ones. You
No,
have a
not-
Facebook section and a website section.
there's not a parlor anymore. There's
How about that given one?
there's all these other ones though as well. So some
So maybe
people,
we could amend it a little bit. I just think that we just needed something
right.
in place before we do, you know,
I
limitations on what's getting posted.
see where you're going. I do.
But then we still have, not to interrupt you, but we still have the issue with, you have the residents saying, I'm not on Facebook.
Right.
So we still have an issue
Right.
no matter what.
Right, and so hopefully we can move forward with the website, and this kind of like sucks it all into one. So once we do, even if we do a prepaid card, to at least get the website up, and then we can, you know, work together to get that updated or whatnot. But at least we have a standing policy on.
Correct.
I mean, I have no problem amending anything in here, taking anybody's, you know, decision, you know, nothing.
I'd like to see the policy come back at the next board meeting.
So bring it back.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I have a motion on the table though, and I got support to pass
Can
it.
we amend it? Because that would be amended.
So how about I rescind my motion?
Okay.
And then I think John supported me on that.
Yep.
Sure, I'll remove it.
And then we'll table this until the next meeting. You're giving me a whole other agenda.
Sorry.
Okay, so we will move on to forensic audits. Oh, sorry, you guys, you know what? I made a motion to send it.
Right.
Okay, I was thinking for you, I got lost. Okay, so we're the forensic audit. You got some updates for us, Chris?
Yeah, we're still waiting on information regarding a forensic audit. So moving forward, I'd like to bring it back to the February 2nd meeting, if that's okay.
No, that's
Two,
actually-
two. 2/2/21.
Hopefully we'll have more information.
So are you making a motion to table that until February 2nd?
Yes.
I
And
got a
then
question.
I'll support your motion. We can go into discussion. Go ahead.
I got a question for you. Yes, sir. Okay, so, on this forensic audit, have you talked to anybody?
We do, but we're waiting to hear back from them.
Okay, we cannot use like a plant moran or you have to go outside of.
I believe now is who we've been talking talking to.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we, yeah, I just, okay, sorry. So I just, that was my question.
Did we get support on that? Oh, okay.
All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say no. Motion passed 7-0. Okay, well,
I just had one question, and I'm sorry, I've already passed it, so I won't ask it, but how many times has that been tabled so far?
forensic audit, well, we had the motion to table it till this one, but then Julie did make the concern that she wasn't going to be running by this one.
So there's 2 tables?
Yes, 2 tables.
Okay, there's a cap on that, so.
I better look into my MTA book on that. Do you want to table it till the second or the second meeting in February?
So we have enough time to compile.
Yeah, probably, yeah, the second.
You can only table a couple times, you have to pull it off the table, so.
Yeah.
But I believe that it can be brought up by a separate trustee than brought up before, if it needed to be, so.
Good, I just don't want you to get into trouble, so.
Definitely.
That's my whole thing.
So are you amending your motion, or we have to?
2's okay, yeah, I think we're still there, aren't we?
Okay, so what's the?
Just leave it and we can,
You good?
yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we are going to move on to Vernon and Flowers. Some information that Nicole had put in her boxes. I guess I just, I don't know, I guess you want to move forward, or we can just discuss it first. It's up to you.
Oh, dear. Yeah.
Okay, so in having a conversation with Jonathan at Burnham and Flower, because he's our representative there, our standard policy that we have with them as far as being related to a volunteer is somebody who's coming in to maybe do some work or whatever, and it would cover, a couple weeks. And if there was something that was to happen, the township would be covered. But because of how we've adopted a deputy, that is not a requirement, and which is fine, but we're looking long-term 4 years. Our policy will not cover a volunteer for 4 years. So he sent me this information. He said, get it to the board, have them look at it. It's probably something we should fill out at a board meeting, so not one specific individual is filling it out, and then submit it back to him. So that way, if we have an occurrence within the township, that we're not in any jeopardy at all of being sued.
Okay, now I guess I just have a couple concerns on this. For one, I was going to contact them and email them because one of my thoughts is that she is still a resident of this township. So that being said, she comes in to pay her taxes and she's not in here working that day and she trips and falls in the parking lot. She's paying her own hospital bills?
No, we're talking why she's here acting on
So
behalf of the deputy
that's
supervisor.
kind of the details that I wanted.
But at that point, if you
More
pay
or
your
less.
taxes, it's like being a visitor. A visitor.
That's what I'm saying, so is this gonna distinguish her? And that's the only thing I wanna know. I just wanna make sure that, this isn't just giving, she could not be my deputy next week. Is there a time frame on here? I guess it would just be something I would more wanna ask some questions on, just to make sure that.
But if you look at it, it could be specified volunteering as,
You would write, that's what you would write in there.
Right.
She's volunteering as the deputy supervisor.
so that would cover her when she's
Anything that
in here.
transpires when she is on the premises here working as a deputy supervisor, the township cannot be held liable.
Exactly.
If she comes in as a resident and pays her taxes and she's not here that day, then she's excluded.
So she's gonna pay her
Okay, so
taxes every day.
This is just.
So, no, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying, so if she busts her head when she's in here helping me out, we're not covering her.
No,
You
she
can
better
cover
write,
Is
she
that what
better
is that what
write a check for her taxes that day. That she's
I don't
covered.
know if I'm trusting that.
So in a situation
I'm just
like,
being
in
realistic.
a situation like that, the township will cover up to $10,000 in medical bills. If we don't have this in place, she could sue us for the remainder.
Well, we don't automatically
This is
cover
one of the concerns that
people
I
that
have.
are in here, so that would be my concern. You wouldn't automatically cover people that are in here helping out, or just, in
Well-
general. I mean, because that's what I thought liability was. My old man keeps liability on his business insurance that I pay every month. And so that's kind of where my concern is with this. I would like, I just personally, I would like to table this till the next meeting until I talk to the insurance company and get some more clarification on where this is headed. Because I don't want to put us into a personal situation either. I mean, I don't know. I just think liability is a good thing to have. And when you're telling someone that they're not going to be covered of your liability business insurance, I thought everyone would be covered, including residents, and she is a resident of the township. So I just think that this is a very, very gray area we're putting ourselves into right here.
Well, I have an opinion on that, a legal opinion on it. It was that she was not a vendor, she was not a visitor, and she's not an independent contractor, and she's not an employee of the township. That's the problem.
Okay, she isn't paid, but she's still deputized. So we're just going to tell her, no, you're out of line.
We, as the township board, have the responsibility to make sure that the township is protected one way or the other. I mean,
No, I absolutely agree with
it's
you.
a big issue anymore. It's
But we also have people that come in here and want to help out and do things. Are we going to make them be signing the same things?
But those are for a limited time.
If you read our policy that we have, there's a certain section that's covered for volunteers. That's why I gave you the example where it said, if somebody's coming in and say they're gonna volunteer to paint, then they're covered, but only for that short process, because it's not gonna take somebody 4 years to paint the township. If it is, you better find somebody else. So he said that it's a different scenario. So the scenario is that this is a 4-year long-term thing. If she wasn't here tomorrow and you did the same thing with somebody else, they still would be required to basically fill this out because they're not covered under what our township specifies as volunteering.
Will you
So-
just, can we table this out? Could I do that and then just give me a copy of that policy and then I just want to review and get some questions answered?
Attorney Gilman, did you review that at all?
I've seen it, yes, I saw it tonight.
Okay, what are your thoughts?
So, I haven't spoken with anyone in Burnham and Flowers either. What it is it's essentially a standard hold harmless and waiver clause. You go to the circus, for example, you fill that out. It's really no different than that. I think there's two issues here. If Burnham and Flowers is saying a volunteer is not covered for workers' comp, then there's nothing for this person or any volunteer to sign. That just needs to be communicated to them. You're not covered, plain and simple. That's different than having someone sign a piece of paper saying, I indemnify you. So I think there's two different things here. And I'm assuming that's what Burnham and Flowers is saying. A volunteer is not covered for workers' comp purposes. And I'd like to clarify that with Burnham and Flowers directly. And if so, then we simply state that. And it's clear and it's communicated to the deputy supervisor and to all volunteers. You're not covered.
I would feel comfortable with that.
Yep. So, yeah, I think we should bring this back, but I agree with that, because, with all your election workers, I mean, I want to know that the same thing applies to anyone, is it the same? Yeah, I mean, so whatever he brings back and tells us.
See, though, in the election workers, they're here, it's a one-time thing, so they're covered under what, I'll want copies of our
Yeah, 'cause
policy for everybody.
it's vague,
What's stipulated in for volunteer.
It's pretty vague of what is
So
a week or 2 weeks or.
They would be volunteer, but he said this is long-term.
Yep, I agree.
He did say
It is
about
long-term.
workman's comp and all of that, and it can be brought back on us. That's why we said there has to be something more in this, and it's not who it is or anything, it's just covering the
So-
liability of the township and what the township can be held accountable for. So if we knew someone was coming in here to work for 8 months or whatever, then I'm sure that they'd have to sign something like this too, because your volunteer is just a short term that somebody's coming in to help out.
So tonight, if we say that she's working on a day, or coming in on a day-by-day basis only, she covered her. I'm just saying, I know she's coming in more than day-by-day, but somewhere along the line, we have to have something done on
No,
that,
I
because
agree.
the township
Well, I
can't go bare on this. I mean, we cannot go there. If we do, we have to be protected. I mean, somewhere along the line.
No, I absolutely understand where you're
Exactly.
coming from. I
I'm just
just want
saying
one
that.
question.
Yeah,
answered on
and I don't have a problem with that. This is the biggest problem I had to start with the whole appointment of the deputy supervisor, because the fact that I had a legal opinion on it, they said you had to pay him something because you're not covered under township insurance. That was their opinion because of that. So, I mean, I'm glad it's coming to a head here because stuff happens. You know, and we can't afford another lawsuit.
So moving forward,
Do we need to have a motion to table
make a motion. I'll make a motion to table. I'll make a motion to table the volunteer form.
It's technically a motion to postpone. When you table something, you're putting it on the table for the meeting, and you're picking it back up at that same meeting. Postpone is you're putting it off at a separate meeting.
Oh.
Small difference, but.
Okay, no, good to know. So I'm gonna make a motion to postpone the volunteer form until the February 2nd meeting.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion passed 7-0. Read public comments for 3 minutes, please.
I took the video, just to let you know I'm going to post it on Facebook someplace, because that is the only means of social media right now that is really popular. Okay? Parler is not a social media, it's a Twitter account. It's the same as Twitter. MeWe is the replacement for Facebook, just in case you don't know that right now. But MeWe, I've been on there, there's just no audience at this point in time. Facebook probably won't go away like they think they're going to in the very beginning. For your website, your IT place that you just chose, they should be able to help you out with that. Okay, I hope you know that you should be able to use them. And just to let you know, I am an IT support person for 20-some years.
Oh,
So
that's
I
really
know a
good.
lot about IT, and I also know a lot about sound and technicians. I do that for our church. So if you ever need some help in some of those areas, let me know.
Leave your name.
Yeah, what's your name? I was gonna write that down right now.
Mike Patterson. So.
Mike Patterson?
Yeah, okay. So I'm probably going to post on my own account the video, and then I will tag the Thetford Township one so that he can choose to add it or whatever at that point. So,
Thank you, Mike. We appreciate that.
Are you related to Guy Patterson?
Huh? No.
No.
I have no relatives, Patterson. Nope.
At one point, we had the barn tore down out here, and I did get a contract form from Burnham Flowers for a hold harmless policy waiver for the person that tore the barn down, so I think maybe they can guide you through with maybe what needs to be signed for this type of, because it could be long-term care, it could be short-term care, you never know if something happens. I'd also like to let you know that you have an attorney sitting right here. Anytime you have a question on how many times something could be tabled or something like that, I'm sure Mike's willing to look it up. I'm wondering where the $13,270 is going to come from for PIT stuff. I believe you can find it someplace. It probably is in the budget, but money needs to be moved there. And thank you for appointing me to the ZBA. And Marie, you did the right thing to get her to come explain, because I believe what she has to do per year is 20%. So you wouldn't be paying her for every parcel.
That's why I think we just.
You know, so I think if you talk with her about that, you'll figure out that it's probably a pretty good deal. So, and everyone keeps throwing on Facebook that the audit is all snagged up from the clerk, and that's not a true statement at all. So I hope that can be corrected and people can work together, and I thank everyone for taking up the position. Good thing.
Do we have any more public comments? Okay, we will move forward with board comments. Ralph?
First off, I think it's a great thing that we're here in person. I get very distracted with the Zoom. I'm not a technical person, and that's kind of something new to me. And of course, being here on the board is new to me too. I want you to know most of the things that I've done in my life, you know, they come natural. This I have to learn, but I'll pick up the speed on it. And I'd like to see the people in person when they come in, rather than when we're on Zoom, there's people making chats and stuff, and it's distracting, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the background. I've got one of the transcripts from the last meeting, and I'm kind of appalled at some of the things that people have posted on there. And if you look at this township, we locate here, we stay here because most of us share the same values. It isn't about a religion, it isn't about race or anything like that. We share the same values. We may get there in a different way, but we do share the same values and expect the same thing. Blame on a lot of this stuff with the audits and that doesn't produce any results. I'm not a person that blames anybody or comes up with excuses. I like to see results. I hope we can all work together, and tonight we accomplish more than we have since December the 1st. I feel we accomplished, we went through reams of paper here, and we were successful without a bunch of distractions. And I'm glad that we met in person and that we can move forward here and get something taken care of. And I appreciate Gary accepting the nominations for the zoning, on the zoning.
To Julie.
I have to say, success, guys. We did our first in-person only meeting, and I think it went very well. I agree with a lot of things that Ralph has said. All we can do is get better. I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. Thank you. That's pretty much all I had.
Chris?
I just want to say thanks for coming out tonight, and I agree with Julie. I think it was a good meeting. Thank you.
Eric?
I also agree with my colleagues. I think this was a good meeting. I think the in-person meeting brings a level of needed professionalism to this township's performance. I think that when we're here in person, we get more done. I think that when we're in person, we are less distracted, and we are, sitting here to do the township's business, and, not distracted by other things going on. I'm also glad that the police did not show tonight. That's a huge plus, I would think. I apologize for being a little loud and boisterous at the last meeting. I think I should say that I was a little bit heated after the whole meeting had to be stopped to answer the door for the police. I just did what I felt was right by the township, what the residents would want me to do, and invite the police in, let them take a look around, verify what they need to verify, and do their job. Also, I'd like to address some of the things that, with regards to social media, the Zoom, and regards to undermining the integrity of individuals on this board, as I kind of briefed that earlier. I think it's a very important subject. For example, Trustee Henry came with us at the last meeting with a personal issue and also issues that he had been confronted with. And after the meeting, I was able to speak with him directly and get more of the information on that. And that's why I feel upholding integrity of individual board members is so vitally important. Because I believe Ralph, and I don't believe that Ralph would lie about something like that. And when a trustee has an issue or needs to present something of importance, whether personal or for the matters of the township, I think it's important that we as colleagues and trustees evaluate that person's integrity and also give them the floor to speak whatever they need to speak in order to get off their mind, or off their chest, whatever they need to get out. With that said, I want to thank everyone for coming out. And with that, thank you all. Have a good night.
John?
I got one complaint. Julie's really fuzzy, because every time I look down there, she's like, what the? No, it is actually nice to meet her.
You've got a mask on.
It's nice to meet a person, because you do get a chance to see the demeanor of everyone, of how they're feeling and what they're like, and which, good or bad, that's the way it is. I'm glad we did have some participation that came tonight. And don't get me wrong, I am not opposed to Zoom when necessary, but it is nice to meet in person, and we did make some accomplishments tonight, so kudos to all of us.
Nicole?
I agree with pretty much everything everybody's saying tonight. I think that we've made some progress. I really hope that we can remain positive going forward. I think that we're all trying really hard, and we're 7 people. We all have different opinions and different views. We're going to have to learn how to come together on certain things, and it's never going to be the same every meeting that we have. So I think we've done really good. I guess, after having the discussion with our attorney today, he did give me, a few good points for thought. And so I just want to know, Attorney Gilner, how do we rate on a scale from 1 to 10 for tonight?
Understand, I've participated in some of your meetings where I thought you were going to come to blows.
Right.
So you did great by that standard, but in reality, it really is refreshing to see you guys get through what you did tonight without the rancor. There's been many times tonight I've been really just biting my tongue because, there's still some tweaking, yes, a good word to be done. A lot of talking when other people are talking, not asking to be recognized. Those are things that I hope to work on when we get rid of these stupid screens and just make for a better meeting. But you guys are out of here in what is it?
Is that 9 o'clock?
8:46. We got 24 minutes.
Hopefully in time you're going to be finishing your business in an hour, because a business meeting, an hour and a half max, in my opinion. But from where you've been, tonight was a good night.
Madam Chairman, I have one last thing.
Nope.
Go ahead, Eric. Make it quick.
All right. I know that we're all that we have to have time to get to know each other's personalities and so forth too. Also, I think it's important to share our political views and our political philosophies with one another, and any time that we can do that on a one-to-one basis, or even a 3 basis, 3 trustees at a time. I mean, I just encourage each one of us to make an effort to take 1 or 2 of you out for, dinner and a beer or a joint or something. Just smoke something, drink something, figure out what we got to do to get together, to work together to this township to improve things around here, and I think things will get a lot better. Thank you.
So that being said, I will say that actually I was up here